Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airways of YouTube. I want to transition to the NFL before I get on out of here for the day. The NFL action and some of your tweets. First of all, first order of business is to say congratulations. Congratulations to Jerod Mayo, the linebackers coach for the New England Patriots that was just named the new head coach for the franchise. This dude was a former defensive rookie of the year. He was a captain on the Patriots for 7 consecutive years. A captain for one of Bill Belichick's teams. Think about that. So we like that. He also is a Super Bowl champion. He's been coaching there since 2019. He's a brother, black man. I'm very happy about that. We all know what my position is on the paucity of black coaches in the National Football League and in collegiate football. It's a subject that's near and dear to my heart. And I love the fact that the NFL process was bypassed. The hiring process was bypassed because a succession plan was put in place by the New England Patriots last year with the NFL league office, because they knew that if Bill Belichick elected to have this as his last year, that they had a successor in place who was a minority candidate. And this is the first time that I can recall that succession plan being utilized for a black candidate. Because the Rooney Rule, after all, that was what its intent was, to open up opportunities for minorities in the sport back in 2003. And so he's a native of Hampton, Newport News, Virginia, same as Mike Tomlin. So we got 2 black coaches in the National Football League, both from the same hometown. And he's the youngest coach in the NFL. And so, listen, you talk about a culture change. I mean, some would sit up there and call him a mini Belichick or Belichick Jr. I hope not. He needs to be his own man. He needs to be a bit different. He doesn't need to shove aside things that worked for Bill Belichick, but in the same breath, he's not Bill Belichick. There's only one. And so I wanted to point that out. Now let me get to my awards, because there's an abundance of awards to get into. And I wanted to get into a couple of things before I went to my picks for this weekend, just to get it out the way right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. My MVP. Thought about this long and hard. There were various candidates, of course. Believe it or not, I consider Dak Prescott. I know that's shocking and hard for you all to believe, especially if you're a Cowboy fan, because you know how disgusting and nauseating I think y'all are. It's all love, though. It's all in fun. Love to hate Cowboy fans, not the Cowboys. I'm a huge Micah Parsons fan. I'm a huge Trayvon Diggs fan. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons I want y'all to lose this year is because I want Trayvon Diggs to be there when you win. And even though I troll y'all a lot, I would actually be happy if Jerry Jones won a championship, before he passes. He believes his mortality is knocking at the door and what have you. I hope he's around for a long time. But I don't wish Dallas Cowboy fans to win anything when it comes to the Cowboys, because y'all are just too annoying. But Dak Prescott did warrant consideration for league MVP. Brock Purdy warranted consideration for league MVP. Christian McCaffrey warranted consideration for league MVP. I'll acknowledge all of those things. But I got to give it to Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens. When I think about Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens 13-3 record. He completed 67% of his passes, threw for 3,678 yards, 24 touchdowns, rushed for 821 yards, by the way, rushed for 5 touchdowns as well. He was the unanimous NFL MVP in 2019, if you remember correctly. But just look at some of these numbers. His passer rating, 102.7, third in the NFL behind Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott. Total yards of offense, pass yards plus rush yards, 6th in the NFL with 4,281 yards. Interception percentage, 1.5, tied for 3rd lowest in the NFL. Okay? This is Lamar Jackson's record versus winning teams this season. 10-3. 68% completions, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, a 106.3 passer rating. Had a perfect passer rating versus the Dolphins. Remember when they blew them out like 56-21, completed 18-21 passes, 321 yards, 5 touchdowns, not a single interceptions. Led all NFL qualifying players with 5.5 yards per carry. This is who Lamar Jackson is. And I saw them go up. All right? No matter who they were going up against. The Baltimore Ravens handled their business. We saw what they did when they went up against the San Francisco 49ers, didn't we? I know I did. And I'm just looking at them against Cincinnati, against San Francisco, against Miami, against Seattle, against Detroit. Blow them out. Blow them out. Baltimore showed me something this year. And I think they got a big time shot to win the Super Bowl. Okay? So I just wanted to throw that out. Defensive player of the year was kind of tricky because I thought about this long and hard. All right? But as I sat back and I thought about it, Myles Garrett for the Cleveland Browns. 14 sacks, tied for 7th in the NFL. Tackles for a loss, 17, tied for 7th in the NFL. Forced fumbles, 4, tied for 5th in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns, leaders in total defense, pass defense, third down defense at 29% conversions. Largely because Myles is busy terrorizing quarterbacks. I might add that the Cleveland Browns are in the playoffs, having won as many games as they won this season, using 5 different quarterbacks this year. 5! Damn it, that sounds like San Francisco from last year. And oh, by the way, Garrett, 27.5% pass rush win rate, wasn't just the best in the league this year by 3.4 percentage points. It was the best Pro Football Focus has ever measured over a single season. So that just means he's terrorizing quarterbacks. Nobody can stop him. And Cleveland got the number 1 defense. Why wouldn't I give him Defensive Player of the Year? Why wouldn't I? So props to him. Let me go to Offensive Rookie of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to waste much time on that. That's C.J. Stroud. Houston Texans. I don't even want to hear about second place. They don't even matter. It's not even important. C.J. Stroud is that dude. Third quarterback in the last 50 seasons to lead the NFL in pass yards and TD interception ratio, along with Joe Montana and Tom Brady, 1989 and 2007, respectively. His record versus winning teams, 6-3 with 312 pass yards per game, 18 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. First rookie in the Super Bowl era to lead the NFL in pass yards per game, 274, and TD to interception ratio, 23-5. Had the NFL's lowest interception percentage at 1%, meaning he averaged just 1 pick per 100 pass attempts. He's a rookie. And Nico Collins and Tank Dell are guys he was throwing the football to. 45% of his pass attempts came when the Texans were trailing. In those situations, he completed 65% of his passes for 13 touchdowns, not one single interception, and a 112 passer rating. There's nothing to talk about. He's the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year, a little bit tricky, but I got to tell you who I'm going with. Defensive tackle out of Georgia, Mr. Jalen Carter. I know he tailed off as the season waned in Philadelphia. All right? They said he fell just 0.7 grading points short of surpassing Aaron Donald's rookie overall grade record of 90.5, but broke the Pro Football Focus record for the highest pass rush grade at 85.9 and a pass rush win rate of 17.7% by a first-year interior defender. He had 6 sacks this season, which ranked him 5th among all rookies. Defensive Rookie of the Year, he deserves that. Okay? So let me get that out the way. Coach of the Year. A lot of tough calls. I like the job Dan Campbell did in Detroit. I like the job Mike McCarthy did in Dallas. Okay? I think about that. That's true. But I got to tell you something right now. How could we give it to anybody? I love the job Kevin Stefanski did in Cleveland. 5 different quarterbacks. Look what they're doing. That's who they play this weekend. But I love the fact that DeMeco Ryans, Houston, Coach of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, definitely Coach of the Year. Texans went from worst to first. 3-13 to 10-7. 7-game improvement. First year, rookie head coach. Now, this guy inherited a team that was an NFL worst, 11-38-1 over the previous 3 seasons. Let's call it what it is, okay? So I want to put that out the way. And last but not least, my Offensive Rookie of the Year, my Offensive Player of the Year, I'm sorry. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. I'm looking at Christian McCaffrey, 1,459 yards, leading rusher. Second place, 292 yards more than second place, Derrick Henry. Scrimmage yards, 2,023. Led the NFL. Total touchdowns, scored 21. Tied for the first in the NFL with Raheem Mostert for Miami. I hear y'all with that. I can't knock it. Christian McCaffrey's a real big-time selection. But I got to go with Tyreek Hill. First 12 games this season, 12 touchdowns, averaging 123 receiving yards per game, and was on pace for an NFL record 2,098 receiving yards. But he injured his ankle a month ago against the Titans and was compromised ever since that. Averaging 79 yards per game with 1 touchdown in 4 games. But let me read this to you. Receiving yards, 1,799, number 1 in the NFL. Receptions, tied for second in the NFL at 119. Only CeeDee Lamb had more with 135. TD catches, 13. Tied for first with Mike Evans in Tampa for the NFL lead. Receiving first downs, 83 catches for a first down. Led the NFL. Deep passes this season, 20 or more air yards. Caught 21 of 35 targets, 60% for 38 yards. Receptions, 8 TD passes, 2 drops, 2 passes intercepted. Very simple question for you. What would the Miami Dolphins be without Tyreek Hill? They'd be home. They wouldn't even get an opportunity to freeze their asses to death this weekend in Kansas City. They'd be home. So let's get that out the way. Okay? Tyreek Hill is my offensive player of the year. Before I let you get on out of here, my picks. Cleveland going to Houston, 1:30 game Saturday on NBC. That's what they say. And you got a lot of people looking at Houston. I know I'm happy Houston's in there because I wanted to see C.J. Stroud in the playoff game, his first playoff game, so I'm definitely happy about that. But I'm picking Cleveland to win this game. Yeah, Joe Flacco may turn the ball over, but I think that Joe Flacco's 39. He's experienced. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's been in these situations before. He's going up against a rookie head coach. He's going up against a rookie quarterback. And I think they can run the football. You got a number 1 receiver in Amari Cooper. You got an elite tight end in David Njoku. And you got a defense that's off the charts. And I think C.J. Stroud is going to have a much time producing against Cleveland than Flacco is going to have a producing against Houston's defense. I'm sorry. Now, you do have some people to sit up there and say, C.J. Stroud, have you seen this boy fling the football? I would remind you, not usually against man coverage. He has his most troubles versus man coverage. So keep an eye out for that, okay? Miami at Kansas City. Miami will lose this game, and they deserve it. You were in first place. You were feeling yourself. You weren't focused enough. You were dreaming about having playoff games in South Beach. You wheeled the cart before the horse. The cart before the horse. Shame on you. And as a result of that, you lost the division crown to Buffalo, who beat you the last game of the season. And on top of all of that, I understand you got injuries and all of this other stuff. I get all of that. But damn it, y'all wasn't focused, and you blew it. And now you got to go freeze in Kansas City. It's going to be minus 4 degrees. That ain't South Beach. The weather alone, even knowing Kansas City Chiefs receivers will drop passes, the weather alone is going to ruin Miami. Sunday's game, Pittsburgh at Buffalo. I appreciate the fact that Pittsburgh reminded the NFL they do have an offense the last 2 weeks of the season, but I don't see them beating Josh Allen in Buffalo. Green Bay and Dallas. As much as I hate to admit it, I see Dallas winning this game and dropping over 40. Green Bay's defense is horrible. I got a bad knee. I'm in my 50s, and I don't think they could defend me. I'm not sold on Green Bay at all. I think Jordan Love is a stud. 32 touchdowns, over 4,100 yards passing in his first season as a quarterback. I think Jordan Love has tremendous promise, but it ain't going to show this weekend. Green Bay loses this game. The Los Angeles Rams and the Detroit Lions. That's an interesting one right there. It's a late night game, Eastern Standard Time. I'm picking the Detroit Lions. Ladies and gentlemen, they've won 1 playoff game in the last 30 years. That's in 1991. Do you know that's the only playoff game the Detroit Lions have won since 1957? I think they win this. I think they answer the call. And then, of course, Monday, Philadelphia is at Tampa Bay. Jalen Hurts' fingers hurt. A.J. Brown hurt his leg. Eagles defense, their secondary is horrible. And Sirianni, without his coordinators, doesn't seem to know what he's doing. They seem to be a bit discombobulated. I can't pick the Eagles in this game. Jalen Hurts has thrown 8 interceptions against blitzes, and very few people blitz more than Todd Bowles. He blitzes coming off the team bus. So I just see it that way, and I see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Philadelphia Eagles.